Well, it appears the revolution may have begun. When an ice storm hit the city of Angels this week, they decided to remind them that it's pretty fucking hot in California and ice doesn't stand a snowball's chance in hell. Now, the Temu tactical teams have been rolling into cities all around the country with whatever Walmart weaponry they can get their hands on, apparently just to show us that the COPD or asthma or whatever the fuck was keeping them from breathing through masks during COVID has magically cleared up when they need to cover their cowardly faces. When ice showed up in Minneapolis, we did a little bit of emergency salting to address the situation. When they showed up in Chicago showed them why Shameless was filmed there. Then they showed up in LA trying to do the worst type of alien abductions. Like, have none of these dumb motherfuckers ever seen a sci-fi movie? You can't be doing alien abductions with an MRAP. You need like a flying saucer and a tractor beam. And also the aliens are supposed to be the ones doing the abducting, not some out-of-shape incel who peaked in high school named Jethro. At least I'm assuming all of these gravy seals are just deliverance-looking inbreds named Jim Bob, whose teeth and IQ points are competing for a low score. But it's hard to tell because these chinless dipshits are hiding their neck beards with a mask and their names by not wearing a badge. And the reason these kidnappers and human traffickers are hiding like the little bitches that they are is because they are not real federal agents. They are hired goons. They are the Gestapo. And let's be really clear here. Their entire purpose has absolutely nothing to do with enforcing the law, protecting the communities. It doesn't even have anything really to do with immigration enforcement. It has absolutely everything to do with Cantaloupe Caligula trying to intimidate the public and everybody who would speak against him into compliance. See, if they were trying to do any actual law enforcement, which would include immigration enforcement, they would want to be as inconspicuous as possible. They'd get intel on where the people they want to kidnap are located, and then they'd roll up and try to abduct those people as quietly as possible, as not to upset the community or tip off other people they may be targeting in the area that they're in the area doing what they're doing. See, that's not what they're doing. They are rolling in like it's Desert Storm because they are an occupying force. And that's why they're going places like Chicago and Minnesota and California, because these are the places that are putting up the most resistance to this authoritarian nightmare. And the Carotene cunt is trying to put those communities and those states and their leadership in their place. It has become painfully apparent as Adderall Adolf is trying to federalize California's National Guard against Californians, against the wish of the governor, and against the wish of local law enforcement. Speaking of which, where are all them states' rights motherfuckers now, huh? And that is some bullshit because the governor oversees the National Guard and local law enforcement is supposed to request them when they're needed, not have them forced upon them, because showing up with a military presence can escalate situations that don't need to be escalated. However, because Putin's barely sentient circus peanut is a fucking idiot who has surrounded himself by fucking idiots, his power play isn't going the way he'd hoped. He said he was going to send in thousands of National Guard troops and only a few hundred showed up and they're just standing around bored because they've got nothing to do and they're not wanted there. And Gavin Newsom, their governor, who is an obnoxious piece of shit, but at least he's an obnoxious piece of shit with a spine, is not allowing the tangerine taco toddler to trample on him or his state. And most importantly and impressively, LA residents are showing up to remind the feds that body heat can melt ice, and LA County alone has more bodies than 40 out of our 50 states. See, it doesn't matter how many incel and Benedict Arnolds put on some Punisher skull face masks like the unironic idiots that they are and try to intimidate us by marching through our streets with some secondhand military equipment. There will always be more of us than there will be of those fucking losers. And these fucking cowards do not have the courage or conviction to stroll into communities full of patriotic Americans who are willing to fight fascism for their friends and neighbors no matter what fucking country they come from. And LA and California is showing us exactly what needs to be done with their mostly but not entirely peaceful protests, setting just enough fires to let the fascists get a taste of the smoke they sure as shit don't want, but being peaceful enough to let them know that any and all escalation is going to be on them, and present enough to let them know that if they decide to escalate, we can take that elevator all the way to the top fucking floor. Now, I am not advocating for any violence, but I am saying that we need to be meeting these fascist fucks wherever they show up and letting them know that they are not fucking welcome. And well, I hope that the Gestapo gets the hint that they should stop-o before anybody gets hurt. If history is in fact repeating itself, we need to be prepared for the fact that sometimes Nazis only know one language and it ain't English. So let's hope and pray that that doesn't happen and continue being our absolute best until we are forced to be our worst. And in the meantime, keep watching the communities that are on the forefront of this fight, because California clearly knows how to turn up the heat and Minnesotans spend all winter fishing, so we've got a little bit of experience putting holes in ice. And I'll tell you what, while I've never been more ashamed of our country, I've never been more proud of our citizens than I have been in the past few weeks. And if you're looking for ways to get involved and make your voice heard in the meantime, the No Kings protest is happening on June 14th. That's this coming Saturday. I'll be speaking at the St. Paul one, so if you can make it to that, come see me. Otherwise, these are happening all over the country, and find one near you and get loud. All of your voices matter now more than ever, and you need to use it or you're gonna lose it.